John Muir was a Scottish-American naturalist, writer, and early advocate for the preservation of wilderness in the United States. Emigrating to America as a child, Muir's love for the natural world led him to explore and document the rugged beauty of places like the Sierra Nevada. His writings, rich with detailed observations and poetic language, helped to inspire a growing conservation movement. Muir's journeys through the American West, particularly in the Sierra Nevada, provided the raw material for influential books and essays such as My First Summer in the Sierra and the Yosemite. His portrayals of the untouched wilderness stirred public imagination and raised awareness about nature's intrinsic value. In 1892, Muir co-founded the Sierra Club, an organization dedicated to protecting the environment. This group became instrumental in advocating for the establishment of national parks and the preservation of wildlands. Muir's relentless efforts eventually contributed to the creation of Yosemite National Park and other protected areas. He believed that nature should be preserved for its beauty and for the spiritual and physical rejuvenation it offered to humanity. John Muir and Theodore Roosevelt famously camped together in May 1903 during Roosevelt's visit to Yosemite National Park. This trip profoundly influenced Roosevelt's conservation policies as Muir persuaded him of the importance of preserving wilderness to future generations. However, in 1906, the Hetch Hetchy Dam proposal emerged as a way for San Francisco to rebuild after the devastating San Francisco earthquake and fire. The city sought a reliable water source and identified Hetch Hetchy Valley in the northwestern area of Yosemite National Park as ideal location. This proposal hurt the relationship between John Muir and Theodore Roosevelt and furthered the debate over the management of America's natural resources. Roosevelt and Muir's camping trip happened 3 years before the dam was formally proposed. Roosevelt, initially a strong ally of conservation, did not approve the dam during his presidency from 1901 to 1909. The real controversy unfolded under President Woodrow Wilson, who ultimately approved the project in 1913, 1 year before Muir's death in 1914. Theodore Roosevelt was a dynamic and progressive leader who served as the 26th President of the United States. Known for his vigorous personality and reformist zeal, Roosevelt came to embody the progressive spirit of his era, trying to balance a commitment to social and political reform with a deep-seated belief in the value of the nation's natural resources. Roosevelt is celebrated as one of America's most effective conservationists. During his presidency, he set aside approximately 230 million acres of public land for national parks, wildlife refuges, and national forests. This included the establishment of several national parks, bird and game reserves, and the creation of national monuments. Beyond parks, Roosevelt used the presidential proclamation power to designate national monuments, protecting unique natural and cultural resources. His action laid the groundwork for future conservation policies. Theodore Roosevelt had a profound impact in American environmentalism. He believed in the sustainable use of natural resources and worked to ensure that public lands would be preserved for future generations while also being accessible to the public. His policies encouraged a balanced approach to conservation that influenced subsequent environmental legislation. Roosevelt's legacy is marked by his ability to navigate the competing interests of economic development and environmental protection. His conservation policies were rooted in a pragmatic approach, protecting the vast areas of wilderness for their ecological, recreational, and aesthetic value while also recognizing the need for modernization. This nuanced stance allowed him to leave a lasting imprint on America's natural landscape, shaping how future generations would interact and appreciate the natural world. John Muir and Theodore Roosevelt both left indelible marks on America's environmental history, albeit through different lenses. Muir championed the ideal of preservation, arguing for the protection of nature in its most untouched form, driven by both aesthetic and spiritual values. Roosevelt, though influenced by Muir's passion, adopted a more pragmatic conservation model that sought to balance the environmental protection with the country's developmental needs.